Chillin' with the Mayos, catch the vibe. Every convo gonna feel alive. Tune in now, we got the scoop. Laughs and insights, join the troop.
Chillin' with the Mayo. You know it.
Communication. And I think that's the number one problem. What it is that people start communicating. They don't tell how they really feel. They quick to tell other people how they feel. You know, they'll tell their girlfriend, you know, they'll tell their best friend, you know what I mean?
So you're saying even if we don't agree, we agree to disagree, but we still talk about it because we still want to be inclusive to each other. But okay, what if you don't want to hear about my pepperoni no more? You like,
then say that. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Is that closing the door? Does that make me not want to talk to you no more?
But some doors can be closed though. Some doors need to be closed sometimes, and it does need to keep being harped on and keep talked about. And like, where is this going? And how's this moving us like in a positive light? Like, okay, we dealt with it, we talked about it numerous times, millions of times. So now at this point, what is bringing this certain thing up, or what is going back down this certain road doing for us as a whole? You know what I mean? As a relationship, as a everything. If we're not growing from it, then and it no longer serves you, then why are we even doing with it? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, people focus on things that it's out of your all right, you can't change this. Like, this can't change. This happened. Y'all been through it, but y'all still decide to be together. So why are you still even bringing that up? Or why are you still dealing with that? Or why you got to a point now you shut down and you feel that that's a better move? All right, I just won't bring it up. I won't say anything. But you're letting it. But you're letting these things pile up, though. You know, now that this issue turned into this issue and this issue, now they are piling up on top of each other. If you'd have dealt with it when it was just one issue, it would be a lot less impact. But now that's the 10th issue, and now you blew up. Guess what? It ain't just this, it's this, and the 9 other things that happen. So when you blow up in a way that it's like, dang, you be tripping off of this, or this what you that upset over? You know what I mean? But really, it ain't even that. It's that and the 9 other things. And
that's so good.
You know?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Because even if you agree to disagree in the heat of that moment, how do you know that's not going to manifest in the next problem? And I feel what you're saying, because it's like, oh, okay, well, we didn't agree on that last situation, but are you going to come into this new disagreement with the same feelings that I'm standing on this? Like, I feel like even though we get so strict about certain things that the compromise becomes too much, or one person feels like they're always giving and no one else has to give, or I'm always the one sacrificing and you're not giving up anything. So how do you know when the compromise is balanced? Like, when one partner feels like they're not just like, I don't want to budge just because I always budge.
Well, you know, again, communication. And I'm going to tell you something. The number one reason why the stuff starts to break down, because once you don't communicate, the number one issue and problem you're going to have that's going to come next is assuming. And nothing can kill a relationship faster than assuming. And that's whether it's a friendly relationship or a intimate one, doesn't matter. If you're ever out here assuming things, that's why I say, you big ass out of you and me. You know what happens when you assume? That's where I come from. Because when you start, the moment that you don't know for a fact, you start filling in the blanks. Oh my God. And you take yourself to a place that, oh wow, you know what? We would have talked about it. We didn't know that wasn't really like that. Like, you might be taking something one way, and since we didn't talk about it
that way.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about it. So guess what? You standing on business like this, how I feel about that. And then the whole time, since we never talked, I might be like, oh, well, I don't know what she tripping on, but she tripping on something. But oh well, it ain't my problem, it's her problem. And then don't come to realize, if we would have talked and come to find out, well, I was acting like that because I found that I thought you was treating me like this because of this. I'm like, what? Nah, I was that day thinking about something happened at work, and that's what I was thinking about. You thought I was thinking about you? Yeah, I thought it was about me. Nah, it wasn't even that. And then boom, understanding.
Right.
And then think about how many times that happens to people, you know what I mean? And like I said, all forms of relationships,
right.
Not just
it's always just a miscommunication.
Miscommunication.
But I think that stems from people not knowing how to communicate properly, because it is not something that is practiced nor preached. And I personally have never been told how to properly communicate in a disagreement, or how to have an argument that was a fair fight, or even just expressing my opinion, accepting how someone responds to that, and then walking away from it with either the satisfaction of it coming out in a good or bad way. But no one tells you how to fight. When you see a fight, you see fists, you see yelling and screaming and pushing and brawling. You don't see anybody just sitting down having a conversation, disagreeing, not yelling, not screaming and throwing drinks. But you just communicating how you feel and letting the other person talk and actually listening to them. But, being so combative and, waiting to give your rebuttal, you don't even hear what they're saying, or you're not even trying to come to a resolution. You're just so mad, or you're just feeling how you're feeling today. And that's how it's going to go. And so I feel like we're not taught to fight fair. Or maybe you're not a good talker and you do shut down. I'm one of those people. Like, I don't necessarily, if I'm in a mood, I don't maybe want to talk about it, but maybe I can write about it, or maybe I can give myself some time to really process my thoughts before I say something. And I'm not a responsive anger person. I don't like that, because I remember a lot of what people say when they're angry, but when you come at me calmly, it takes a different type of tension off the situation. Like, yeah, we may not even agree at the end of it all, but at least I don't feel like I'm about to be on edge, or like I'm excited. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Are you going to jump up out that chair at me? Or like, are we going to walk out of here okay? Like, I feel like that's what's not communicated enough. Like, you can care about how they feel about what you say and still not be in the same space about it. Or, I'm not going to change how I feel about it, but I respect you enough for at least hearing me out, understanding where I'm coming from. Because a lot of the time, what else happens? Like, oh, you didn't mean it like that? That's how I took it, because you did this and then you did that. And then I just assumed because you didn't say anything else. And it was like, oh, no, I didn't know. I was mad about this. And so I've seen it a dozen times that it's always just miscommunication. But
More times than not.
how? You know what I mean? Like, how do
And-
how do you get to that place to start the communication?
And the other problem is the fact of not always having to feel like you have to be right all the time. Because if you always got to feel like you're going to be right, then you're never going to see the other person's point of view. You're never going to catch their perspective. You're not going to be able to see anything other than your way of seeing it. So that comes with that. All right, I'm just listening to you talk so I can hear up so I can talk. So you're not even in it like that. You know what I mean? Whereas if you get to a point where you're so disciplined, where like I even teach, people, my sons and things like that, and my kids, like, look, you ain't got to be right. You know what I mean? Or I don't have to be validated that I'm right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? As long as I actually said what I needed to say, and I know that person hurt me, and I know it came across. So, because you can't unhear what you heard, and you can't unsee what you saw. So when I show you something, and it's actual facts, or I tell you something that can't be disputed, I don't need you to validate it. I know it's hard for people to admit, realness. I know it's hard for people to admit when they're wrong. I know it's hard for people to admit that someone else is right. I know it's hard. So I don't even put you in that position. I just need you to hear it. And then once you heard it, I'm good. Because guess what? When you in that room by yourself, you looking in the mirror and you looking back at yourself, you can lie to me, you can lie to the world, you ain't gonna lie to yourself. So I know what you heard. As long as I'm coming at you with realness. Now, if I'm coming at you with a bunch of nonsense and some fakeness, then yeah, that's gonna go over your head and you're gonna be looking at it like, man, this dude's full of crap and I don't know what he on. But if it's some realness, someone's really talking about some realness and you just want to debate, no problem. I don't need to debate. I just need to say my piece so that when you by yourself and you read and that's all playing back in your head, you're gonna be like, you know what? You weren't wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't front on that. Or yeah, when I'm looking at it from that perspective, yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Chillin' with the Mayo.